So be anxious for no thing, but in everything by prayer and supplication. Now the distinction here between prayer and supplication, prayer is a general term. There are actually 7 different types of prayer. And one of the things, there is a prayer of supplication, is one of the prayers. Prayer is, and this is one of the things that we make mistake in, and that is that we lump all prayer together. And so we apply the same principles to all different types of prayer, no matter what it is that we're praying. Have you ever heard anybody pray this? They're praying, asking God for something, and then they put on the end of the prayer, "If it be your will." Have you ever heard anybody do that? Have any of you ever done? Don't raise your hand. Don't raise your hand. We all at one time in our life have done that. Whether it's praying for healing, whether it's praying for our needs to be met, whatever. We just think that the tagline on the end of the prayer should be, "If it be your will." And the reason that we do that is because Jesus prayed that. Now listen to me. Jesus prayed that one time. Do you know that when Jesus prayed for the sick, not once did He say, "If it be your will"? Not one time. When He fed the 5,000, He didn't say, "If it be your will." When He raised Lazarus from the dead, He didn't say, "If it be your will." When He calmed the storm, He didn't say, "If it be your will." When He healed the lepers, He didn't say, "If it be your will." Because each one of those were prayers of faith. The prayer of faith never puts at the end, "If it be your will." Actually, I personally believe that if you put "if it be your will" at the end of the prayer of faith, it nullifies it. It completely takes the power out of the prayer. Now, what I'm getting at, do you just mind if I'm real blunt with you? Can I just be brutally frank? And all of you are thinking you're going to be anyway. In order to pray the prayer of faith, you have to already know what the will of God is. You can't pray the prayer of faith without knowing what God's will is in that situation. Well, you can't know what God's will is. Well, of course you can. It's in the Word. It's in His Word. It's in the covenant. So, what we have done is we have taken one of the prayers that Jesus prayed, and by the way, the prayer that He prayed in the Garden of Gethsemane, where He prayed this prayer, it was the prayer, we call it, the name that we have for this particular type of prayer is a prayer of dedication and consecration. This is the type of prayer that you would pray if you don't know that you're supposed to do something. Like it's not spelled out in the Word that you're supposed to go to Africa or India or Zimbabwe or wherever it is. You don't know if you're supposed to do that or not. And you're trying to find out what God's plan is because you want to be obedient and you want to do what's right. And so you're praying and you say, "Lord, if you want me to go to Morocco, then if it's your will, then I'll go." That's when you put that in there. "Lord, if you want me to move to Chattanooga, Tennessee and start a church, then I want to fulfill your will. If it's your will, I want to do that." That's a prayer of consecration and dedication. It is okay because you don't know what the will of God is in that area. So you're trying to seek what the will of God is. But the prayer of faith, you know what the will of God is. The prayer of supplication, or the prayer of petition, some people call it. And that's what the word supplication here means. The word supplication means to give a petition, to petition for something. The prayer of binding and loosing is another. The prayer of agreement is another. See, these are all different types of prayer, and they have different ways that they're used. So we just lump everything together and say it's prayer. Well, think of it with the analogy of sports. I like putting things in sports analogies. And that is, if you played all sports by the same rules, it would be chaos. Can you imagine playing baseball with dodgeball rules? I mean, they hit a ground ball to the shortstop, and the way you get the guy out going to first is beat him with a ball. None of this, I got you, no you didn't. You hit a guy with a baseball, you're going to know you got it. Or how about if you played baseball with football rules? And so the batter gets a hit, and everybody on the other side tackles him before he gets to first base. You'd have far fewer baseball players, I believe. I don't think it would be near as popular. I don't think it would be America's sport. So there's different rules. Although they are all sports, they are played with different rules. It's very similar with prayer. They all are types of prayer, and prayer very simply is communication with God. Okay, that's what prayer just means, communicating with God. But you have different goals, you have different reasons, you have different objectives when you're involved in prayer, when you're participating in prayer, when you're exercising prayer. So it is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to share with you something here that will make you more efficient when you're praying. Because I desire for you to get results. You know, prayer is not just to make you feel good. Okay? I mean, it does, but that's not the only purpose of it. There are prayers, there are prayers of praise and thanksgiving, and that's all you do. You don't add any supplication or petition to it. It's just a prayer of praise, thanksgiving.